Hello and welcome on Belmont Journal, Belmont's news show and community update. I am your host, Shonool Malik. In today's announcements, nomination papers for the April 5th, 2022 annual town election are now available for those who are interested in running for elected office in Belmont. All candidates must be registered voters of Belmont. The submission deadline is February 15th at 5 p.m. More information can be found on the town clerk's website. Belmont Public Library will be closed on December 24th, 25th, and 31st, and January 1st for the holidays, but will be open on other days during the usual time period. Friday, December 3rd was the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. It's the day of promoting well-being and rights of people with disabilities. In celebration of this day, here's a wonderful story of a visually impaired Belmont High School senior, Madeline Babcock. She's hoping to compete in the Paris 2024 Paralympic Swimming Games. Citizen journalist Kumako Akai Whitelaw reports.
When I was younger, I played a bunch of sports, but none of it really ended up working out just because of my visual impairment. I have a condition called aniridia. I can't see small details. I need things to be very large print and high contrast. When I was 7, I joined Belmont Aquatic Team and started swimming and kind of just fell in love with the water. I joined the high school swim team and have been doing the high school swim team along with club swimming and swimming for Adaptive Sports New England. Sit, Enzo, sit. Let's go. Yes, good boy. I've had Enzo for about 18 months now. Everyone jokes around about how I swim and don't like getting out of the pool, and he hates water. He just sleeps on his dog bed. When I swim, I don't need my guide dog, or I don't need someone to guide me, or my cane. I get to be just like everyone else and kind of show people that just because I'm visually impaired doesn't mean I can't be an athlete. And swimming is cool because you can't tell that I'm the blind athlete unless I'm using a tapper.
About 80% or 4 out of 5 high school students does some sort of sport or activity with their while they're that age in high school. And when you look at the disability community, it's about the opposite. So 20% or 1 out of 5 students is actively engaged in a high school program. So we try to raise both that access as well as awareness, because a lot of athletes or a lot of kids with disabilities or their parents don't know what's out there. The swim team is what Maddie is a part of. A lot of the athletes will come and they are like Maddie. We do our weekly sessions as supplemental so that athletes can come to us, get the one-on-one training, and then take that back to their home training situations and implement it throughout the week. When I am training with Madeline, what we will practice and what we do in meets is tapping. So when she's going full speed into a turn, she's not able to see where the wall is. So by having a long pole with something soft, what the tapper is able to do is reach down, tap the swimmer on their head or their shoulder, wherever they're comfortable, a certain distance before their turn. And it is something that a lot of athletes, as well as the coaches or parents or whoever's tapping them, have to have a level of trust. One great way to build trust very quickly is to have the coach also be someone with a disability. So I'm a Paralympian myself. So when you're in the water looking up on deck at your coach and your coach has a disability or looks like you do, then you're able to kind of have that connection a lot quicker.
I went to trials for Rio when I was 12. And then I was hoping for the 2020 team, but because of COVID, it was a little bit crazy, so it didn't happen. So I'm hoping for Paris.
She'll be training also for the Paralympics, but she's finishing up her senior year of high school and trying to prepare for her college situation next year.
I'm hoping to major in sociology and then go to law school. I want to go into disability rights. I think self-advocacy is like one of the most important things for kids and young adults to learn, and especially when you have a disability and you're put into a position where you're the only one who knows what you need. You just have to advocate for yourself and kind of just show classmates and teachers that they might not think you can, but there's ways of getting around that, and you're able to do almost all the same things as all of your classmates are able to do. It might just look different or be another way of doing it or take longer.
And now on to our regular interview with Franklin Tucker, editor of the BelmontTonian.com. Welcome, Franklin. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I believe you have a story on a follow-up story on Patrice Gravin, the town administrator. What's new?
Yes. Patrice Garvin was one of basically two finalists who the Reading Board of Selectmen Select Board voted on, and they selected a different person. They selected the commissioner from Chelsea, although the DPW commissioner from Chelsea, to be their new town manager. I think in that choice they were looking at more of potential. They think that they can basically get him, who was very enthusiastic, to become a good manager. They can have their town employees to get him to do what they would like to do. I don't think they were looking for a technocrat that I think Patrice is much more like. But with every with that, Belmont certainly dodged a bullet. It was what we'll have is we'll have a very good town manager who will be at the helm of the town when it comes to the budget making process, and not only for this year but for a 3-year projected plan or even 5-year projected plan. Again, she's somebody who is who was praised by the Reading Select Board for how she can obtain grants from the federal and state government and private grants. And we're going to have somebody who's steady and is not going to be flustered and who knows her way around town. So that's good, because right now we're down. We are still looking for an assistant town manager. So if Patrice would have left, we would have been very shorthanded. So even though Patrice, there's always going to be other opportunities for her, and the things open up everywhere around the state. We'll at least have her for the foreseeable future.
Thank you for that update, for that very important update. I also believe that the skating rink building project went from 0 to 60 in a very short time. What's an update on that?
That's right. As you can remember, back in May, when the town meeting was there was a citizens petition to create a building committee for the rink, and basically the town said, let's not do it right now. We don't have the funding. We don't have the people. We're just not ready for that. And it looked like that was going to basically be the status quo until town meeting of this year. But talking about Patrice Garvin again, she along with Dave Rogers, who is our state representative, and Will Brownsberger, our state senator, basically got $1.1 million in state ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan funds, to come to the town, and $250,000 of that is dedicated to the rink. Now, with that money, the town then can move forward in getting much more detailed designs. I mean, we have conceptual designs on what the rink will look like. Once we get a 30% design done, which will give us much more of an idea of what the cost will be and where it's going to be located, it just became advantageous for the town to create a temporary building committee for the next 6 months until town meeting, when a permanent one can be created, and use that money, that $250,000, to move forward, to move it quickly. I know that this is something that's, like you said, it came out of, it's been very rapid, and along with the financing committee, the Rink financing committee. This is now we're finding the funding, and we're going to get the design. So it's pretty close to where, you're going to get the synergy where you're going to be able to say, do we need to go to town for a debt exclusion? And the financing committee has already said, yeah, that's where the bulk of the money is going to come from. Now, that's caused a little bit of consternation with the library building committee. They are moving forward with a November 22 vote to do a debt exclusion for about $35 million to build a new library. So they don't want to be crowded with another building project that could take a little bit of the emphasis off them and have a shared one. And especially in a town right now that's not that accepting of debt exclusions as we think right now.
Well, thank you so much, Franklin, for that update. Appreciate that. Hoping and wishing you very happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Holly Johnson is the owner of Cheeky Monkey in Belmont Center. She started her business 8 years ago and has been on the Etsy platform since then. In August 2020, she moved her studios to Belmont Center. She shares with us the joy of designing and creating her own items and special pieces, and also owning a small business.
I'm Holly Johnson, and this is my shop and studio, Cheeky Monkey Home. With a background as a fine artist and a painter, I really developed a love for color and light and pattern, and I never thought that I would be sewing, and never thought that I'd be working with textiles, but it's actually quite similar in a lot of ways, and I found that working with the color of the felt is really inspiring to me, and I'm especially inspired by the craft and design of other countries. And then the longer I've been living in New England, the more the sort of nautical and seaside themes have come into my work as well. But I feel so excited and inspired every day. I just love working with color and pattern. And then the actual technique of doing felt applique is really cool. I make the designs either drawing them on paper or on my computer, and then I create a pattern, and then I cut the felt and then place it on the pillow. And then the sort of other unique and important aspect of my work is the top stitching, and it adds sort of decorative quality, and it activates the applique beyond just the design itself. One really important and unique thing about Cheeky Monkey Home that you don't see at places like Pottery Barn or big retail stores is that we're a small batch, made to order business. And what that means is that it allows me to constantly change my designs. I can just indulge my creative ideas, and I don't have to be bound by the fact that I need to keep making this anchor pillow. That's really freeing. And for me, I wouldn't be doing this if I couldn't continue to change the design and grow and be inspired, like to respond to the inspiration around me every day. And I think that that's one of the really cool things about Cheeky Monkey Home and why people love us, is that it's so personalized. For most of the Cheeky Monkey Home history, I've been a one-person operation. And I got to the point in 2018 where I just had to have some help. And I was so lucky at that very moment to meet someone who had just arrived in the United States after being in a refugee camp for 3 years with her family. And she already was a skilled sewer. And she just lifted me up, and we partnered, and she's been helping me ever since with the finishing of pillows and with all kinds of things working from home. And because working with her was so incredible and such an eye-opening experience for me to understand the challenges that refugees face when they come to the United States, I was really moved and totally energized by the idea of committing myself and Cheeky Monkey Home to working with people in her same situation, people from the refugee community, women in need. And we've developed a really amazing kind of connection and partnership. And so now I have several people who work with me helping with sewing through Cheeky Monkey, and then I'm always here in the studio doing sewing myself. So it's a team effort.
Holiday season is right around the corner, which means plenty of college kids will be heading home to be with their family. It also means a season of party and alcohol consumption. Lisa Gabriello, prevention specialist at Wayside Youth and Family Support Network and coordinator of Belmont Wellness Coalition, talks about substance consumption and how to have this conversation with your children. She's being interviewed by Mike Crowley.
With kids coming home from college for winter break, there will be gatherings. What advice do you have for parents about keeping their kids and their families safe?
Yes, Mike, there is some advice that I will relay, and it basically boils down to be in communication with your kids around this topic. Talk about your expectations. Be very clear about what those expectations are. And not just, I don't want you doing this, end of conversation, but talk about the risks that are associated with substance misuse. That the fact that these substances impact their developing brains, the fact that, car accidents and other accidents, the incidences rise when substances are being used, alcohol poisoning, sexual violence. So you want to talk about the risks, you want to be clear about what you expect, and you ultimately you want this to be an ongoing kind of conversation that you have with these older teens, not a one-off. And listen to what they have to say. Listen to where they're coming from. So that's first and foremost, Mike.
All right, well, let me ask you this, Lisa. How about supervision? Are parents expected to stay home and supervise young people of this age when they're gathering at home?
That's an excellent question, Mike. And the answer is basically yes. If the kids that are gathering are under 21, then it is really important that there be at least one parent at home supervising. And the reason has everything to do with the social host liability law, which codifies the fact that if something should go wrong in your home involving substances and underage people, you are legally responsible, you as the adult. So it's very important to have supervision. Again, I would say even for any college age kids, but certainly for the under 21-year-olds.
So parents really need to be talking with their kids and even in some cases providing supervision. What else is recommended, Lisa? Should parents lock up the liquor cabinet?
Well, that's kind of a controversial topic, but I would say with younger teens in the house, with middle school kids in the house, I think it actually makes sense to lock up the liquor cabinet. It might just ensure an extra level of security. With your older teens who've been away either in their own apartments or at college, I think it is more about establishing trust, having the conversations. So, it's possible that you will still do that. But again, with the older teenagers, it's more about just being in communication. And of course, modeling appropriate use of alcohol yourself as the adult.
What if your kids say, hey, I've been away at college for 3 months doing what I want to do. It doesn't make sense for me now to have all of these rules. How should parents respond to that?
That is another great question. And kids do say that. So here's what I tell parents. Acknowledge that that's true. Validate the frustration that the kids are experiencing in coming home and having to make an adjustment. Validate that it must be irritating. And you can also say that as your parent, I still have the right to have certain rules in this. And these rules are in place to keep you safe. And because you're underage, so you can acknowledge the frustration and you can also say, look, I get the frustration, but as your parent, I have the right to have certain expectations met while you are home.
All right, Lisa, any last thoughts?
Again, just keep the lines of communication wide open, hear them, validate them. And again, as I said earlier, good idea to always model responsible substance use as you, the parent.
And now on to our community calendar. Belmont Public Library is hosting a Pokemon trading extravaganza on Saturday, December 18th from noon to 2 p.m. Drop by during this time, and whether you have a video game or a book full of cards, everyone will enjoy the thrill of a good trade. You will also see on special display the librarian's 20 plus years collection. No registration is needed for this event. Get into the holiday spirit with Beach Street Center members for a fun afternoon on baking and decorating sugar cookies held on Tuesday, December 21st at 1:15 p.m. The Senior Center will provide everything you need to get creative and have some fun. To register, please call 617-993-2976. The event is free and donations towards supplies are appreciated. The Belmont Public Library is organizing a virtual math science event on Wednesday, December 29th from 10 to 11 a.m. This virtual and interactive event is all about the fundamentals of moving science with Newton's law of motion. Discover the science of gravity and balance, kinetic beats, and try to remove a tablecloth without clearing the table. All of these experiments are done with household objects. Register on the library's website. The Beach Street Center is also inviting you to a presentation of Dickens period Victorian fashion on Wednesday, December 29th at 1:15 p.m. They will be covering styles from the 1830s to the 1870s and looking at the profound changes in fashion that continue to influence the styles of today. For more information, please call 617-993-2976. Join Belmont Books for a cooking class on Thursday, January 6th at 6 p.m. Chef Avi Shemtov, executive chef for the Chubby Chickpea and owner of the Simcha restaurant in Sharon, Massachusetts, as well as the author of the cookbook by the same name, will share some of his recipes from his book with you. Book purchase is required to attend this event. The ticket to this event includes your admission to the class, a recipe kit for ingredients to be purchased beforehand, a copy of the Simcha cookbook, as well as 2 soft drinks and 1 appetizer at Simcha restaurant. More information can be found on belmontbooks.com. And that's it for this week's edition of Belmont Journal. Belmont Journal will be on break for the rest of the December. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next year in January. Have a great holiday season. This is your host, Shonool Malik, signing off.